Hey everybody, hope you guys are good today. It is April 10th on the morning devotion. It's a Friday, so we're going to be wrapping it up for the week today. And then the weekend is already here. Wow, right? What are you guys doing this weekend? Huh? You going to be busy? Got a busy one? I know last week, man, we were already knee deep in a lot of busyness. It was really busy last week. And it seemed like every night, every day were long, those 13-hour days. I think I had 4 or 5 in a row. So I'm hoping this weekend we kind of chill it out a little bit, get some rest, let the body kind of relax. It's so cool. Today we get to be in Revelation chapter 15. Hey, Craig, I got your message. Have a great weekend, man. Enjoy, and you'll catch the recording of this. So, okay. Chapter 15, you could always check out the archives at my YouTube channel at beauwillette.com, or you can just go to YouTube and type in Beau Willette. It's right there, that French-Canadian name. Right there. Yeah, those French-Canadian names have a lot of vowels, so it's sometimes a little hard to spell, and I understand that. Hey, it was a great night last night. Congratulations to the Utah Mammoth, which was previously the Phoenix Coyotes, that have clinched a playoff berth in the National Hockey League. So very excited about that. And just congrats to all the players, the coaching staff, just the trainers, everybody involved. It really takes everybody, to be successful And that's true in our own lives too. It takes an army, man. We can't just do it individually. Yeah, we have a part to play, and we need to play it, but we definitely need one another, don't we? Okay, so let's get into chapter 15, see what it says. It says, "Then I saw in heaven another marvelous event of great significance." We notice that we're kind of getting a lot of visions of what's going on in heaven. Different angels doing things, harvesting the earth, shouting, declaring the gospel. It's kind of interesting. You see in a sense, a kind of an angelic priesthood, if you will, before God that are serving the Lord, and they're doing certain things. And I find that really fascinating, just as there was a tabernacle or temple, a Jewish tabernacle, a Jewish temple, where there were priests that were involved in serving the Lord through various activities, ceremonies, things of that nature. So you see that also in heaven. It's like everything on earth is kind of a picture of something that's even greater. Man, that's a neat thought, right? Just to think today that, man, there's something even greater. That what we do here is in a sense, it's a type of something that's even maybe more the reality. Meaning this is just an image bearing of something that this represents something of greater significance, greater meaning. And we get a glimpse of it here, but right now we only know in part and prophesy in part, and everything's in part. Meaning it's not fully, we don't got the full thing going on. And that's kind of, wow, a mind blower for sure. But when you live your life thinking that way, that, wow, there's something to what we're doing, that means it's not just arbitrary. You know, we don't just arbitrarily do whatever it is we want to do whenever we want to do it at any time, just random. No, there's purpose and meaning. There's a reason behind the way we are made, our structure, how we organize, even as a species, how we collect in family units, again, how we organize, what we're like. I mean, you know, even to the kind of the idea of even our service unto God. There's an image bearing of that. There's something even greater. So I find something neat in that where it says another marvelous and great event and significance. 7 angels were holding the 7 last plagues, which would bring God's wrath to completion. Man, we did see the harvesting of the earth, you know, this kind of sifting out, you know, the angel with the sickle and going through the harvest. A very Joel chapter 3 passage. I mean, we could have referenced that yesterday in the devotion with chapter 14. You know, Joel 3. Man, the idea of God judging the nations. Why? In Joel 3, it's because of their treatment of Israel. You know, remember this persecution of the child that we read about in the book of Revelation, the pregnant woman that gives birth to the child, and the red dragon, which is Satan, that serpent of old, wants to devour that child. You know, you get the idea that then it says then the woman is persecuted, chased into the wilderness, and that there is a persecution of the nation that would give birth to Israel. Interesting, but, you know, I guess it matters, you know, what you're going to say about Israel and how you're going to treat the nation of Israel and how you're going to treat the Jewish people. I think today people are really kind of tend to be a little, a little loosey-goosey with their mouth, you know, when it comes to the way we judge. You know, we tend to judge and we kind of not really think much about it. But, you know, we have to always ask the question, is our judgments really righteous or are they not? You know, well, we see that God's judgments are certainly right. And we're going to see that in this chapter. So we see these 7 angels were holding the last plagues, which would bring God's wrath to completion. This is what's called indignation, righteous wrath. Think of a mom whose child, she's taking a stroll with her child, and that child is stolen by thieves. Thieves come and steal that child. That mom would have a righteous wrath, a righteous indignation to procure the freedom of her child. She would do it even by pulling that child as hard as she can to make sure that that child was out of the grips of the enemy. But it would be, I mean, she would have a righteous wrath towards the enemy of her child. It would be righteous, and it would lead her to procure the child's freedom through even difficult times. Do you not think God is procuring your freedom? That God procures your freedom, and it is a difficult, it involves his wrath against sin. Yeah, it's interesting, right? That God is like a father that's procuring our freedom. And even in his wrath is a sign of his love for us. Just as a mom's sign of her wrath against the enemy who wants to steal her child is a sign of love. Wrath isn't necessarily something that's bad. It can be really the thing that is needed to procure someone's freedom. I hope you kind of can grab that. So it says God's wrath is going to come to completion. And it says, I saw before me what seemed to be a glass sea mixed with fire. Now, if you don't know what a sea is, you might want to look up like a temple sea or tabernacle sea and kind of do a little search on that. And you'll find pictures of what was in the tabernacle during the time of Moses or during the temple era. So the time of Solomon. And you can kind of see what that looks like, this cleansing basin for the priests. And here this sea of, it says, is mixed with fire. Definitely the idea of cleansing and holiness. And on it stood all the people who had been victorious over the beast and his statue, and the number representing his name. Wow, a special cleansing to take place for those who did not buy into the mark of the beast nor worship the image. So there is a worshiping going on. There is a taking of the mark, joining the economic system, joining the world system, making it very clear this is a beast that blasphemes God, blasphemes God's people, makes it very clear that they are against Christ. So this is a system, even you could say an individual that is part of a system that is very clearly against the Messiah, is against Jesus being the Messiah. It's not that they're anti-Messiah. I mean, they declare maybe themselves to be the Messiah, right? Many Messiahs have gone out into the world, Jesus says. Many Christ, many Messiahs. They all say, I'm the Messiah, I'm the Messiah. And then there will be the great, one who claims to be the Messiah who won't be. He will be a false Messiah. Right? And people will worship him. They will be blown away. Who is like the beast, right? Whose wounds were healed, whose wound, that head wound, was healed, miraculously healed. Who is like him? Who is able to make war with the beast, right? There will be, who can fight against him, right? The whole world will go that direction, and they will worship, and they will bow. Man. And it says, all the people who are victorious. Isn't that cool? That people during this time will be victorious. It's always neat to be around people who go against the grain. I kind of like that. People that are really kind of, going against it. And I think that's really what Jesus, what was a big attraction to me about Jesus, was that when you read the gospel accounts, you get the idea that Jesus really went against the grain. I mean, he really spoke in a way that, man, he was swimming upstream. He was going against the flow. And people, all kinds of people, did not like what he was saying. At times, just the regular Joe Blow didn't like what he was saying. And then at times, it was the religious people that didn't like what he was saying. Or the kings, the government, didn't like what he was saying. But Jesus spoke truth to all people. And, man, the chips fell where they may. But he did not compromise at all. He was victorious. I love that. I just find that so radically awesome of a character quality. And it says, they were all holding harps that God had given them. Hey, they all became musicians. You might be someone who doesn't know how to play an instrument, don't know how to sing. But at some point, you will. At some point, man, you'll be given something, an instrument. You'll be given a voice so that you could sing in a beautiful, beautiful way. I'm looking forward to that beautiful voice, by the way. And it says, and they were singing the song of Moses. Oh, man, you might want to turn over one day to Exodus. I think it's chapter 15, and maybe read that song of Moses. Boy, is it interesting. That is for sure. There is some insight into that song. You can just study that one. And it says, and they were singing the song of Moses, the servant of God, and the song of the Lamb. During the time of Moses, there was some wrath of God, right? There was some wrath of God on the enemies of Israel. Isn't that interesting? And so here we see a similar idea as well. But remember, this is worldwide. It's not just in one particular spot, but we see it. This kind of wrath is affecting the whole earth. Great and marvelous are your works, O Lord, the Almighty. So I love that. It talks about the marvelous works of God again, and that he is the Almighty, right? Unto us a son is born. He shall be called, what? What shall the son be called? Wonderful Counselor? Yeah, Almighty. O Lord God, great and marvelous are your works. O Lord God, the Almighty, just and true are your ways, O King of the nations. Oh, who's the king? Who's the rightful king? Hey, Pontius Pilate, who's the king, right? What did Pontius Pilate say? Are you the king? Are you the king of Israel, right? And what did Jesus declare? It is as you say, and you will see the Son of Man coming in the clouds. Woo! Wow, wee! O Lord, the Almighty, just and true are your ways, O King of the nations. How does God dwell on the planet as a king? It's called the Messiah. Who will not fear you, Lord, and glorify your name? For you alone are holy. All nations will come and worship before you. Notice all nations. The idea is that it's a very Old Testament one. Again, found in the book of Joel, chapter 3, but many places. All over the place. The idea of the entire Old Testament is that the nations are against Israel. And Israel is either going to rely on the Lord, or they're going to go their own way and trust other nations to fight other nations. And, of course, Israel drops the ball. Instead of going to God, they go to what? Other people. Instead of relying on the Lord, they go to other people. Instead of listening to the Lord, they listen to other people. Does it sound familiar? Instead of relying on the Lord, who am I going to? Instead of listening to God, who am I going to? I'm going to go to someone, but who am I going to go to? See, when times were tough, Israel, instead of relying on the Lord, their God, they ended up relying on the kings of Assyria, or the kings of Egypt, or the king of Babylon, or the king of this, or went to this person, or went to that, or, the governor here, the governor there. They went to all these people to try to link up, to become allies. instead of relying on the Lord. I mean, you could read Isaiah 30 if you want to read a little bit about that. But you really get the idea that, man, this is going to be happening here. Here you just see it all in a sense, widescreen, right? It's all in the theater. It's on the big screen now. It's the big scene going down. And it's all the nations are going to finally come and worship the Lord, for your righteous deeds have been revealed. So it's a cool song. It talks about the mighty works of God. It talks about him being a king of all the nations, not just Israel, but to all the nations, and that he alone is holy. This is what makes God distinct from all of us, is that God is holy. He is sovereign. He is separate from us. He is a holy being, whole, like as in a whole, like whole pie, a whole pizza, where we are missing pieces, but God is whole, and he alone is whole. And so, are you the Holy One of Israel? The question's asked to Jesus, right? The Holy One. Well, there's only one Holy One, and that's God. But they understood what they were saying. God on the planet, i.e. the Messiah, would be holy, just as God is holy. And it says all nations will come and worship before this king on the planet. And the book of Revelation certainly is a revealing of his deeds and how they are unfolding on the planet. God is procuring the freedom of the world. He is procuring their freedom through his judgments, his righteous wrath on those who have rejected his provision for salvation. But God will dwell on the planet. And if God's going to dwell on this planet, he is going to do some cleaning up. Now, you might think like, oh man, that sounds so religious and so lame, Beau. Gosh, God's so judgmental. Oh yeah? I mean, if I was just Beau the atheist growing up like I was, secular progressive, you know what I saw? I saw kings going to cities. I lived close to Los Angeles. People going to Los Angeles. And you know what the government does? They clean up the city. Do you get it? They clean up the city when people of importance come to the town. When people of importance come to a college, they clean up the college. When people of importance come to anywhere, you kind of clean it up. When someone of importance comes to your home, what do? You clean it up. It's kind of interesting, right? Isn't that weird? Yeah. Well, God does that too. Because we all are made in his image and in his likeness. We do things like the deity. We aren't the deity, but we are an image bearer of the deity. Well, when the deity comes to the planet, there is a cleaning up. When he's setting up a kingdom on this planet, when he is going to tabernacle on the planet, there is an accountability, a cleaning up of the earth at this time. The book of Numbers is a minuscule version of this. God would dwell in Israel. He would meet the people in what was called the tent of meeting, and there was an accountability, a cleaning. That's why in Numbers, everything has to be cleaned. Perfect. God is going to dwell. His presence will be seen in the tabernacle. Wow. Well, now it's the earth, and God's going to show up in a body, ruling, reigning in his glory. Amazing. But guess what? There is going to be a cleansing of the city, so to speak. And don't forget, God is procuring our freedom, the people's the freedom of the earth, the enemies who have destroyed the earth. Right? Remember, it said that in the book of Revelation, those who have destroyed the earth. God's kind of bummed of what we've done with our dominion over the planet. Haven't done a good job. Nope. Then I looked and saw that the temple in heaven, again, the temple work in heaven. God's tabernacle was thrown wide open. 7 angels who were holding the 7 plagues came out of the temple. They were clothed in spotless white linen, like priests, right? With gold and sashes around their chest, like priests, right? Then one of the 4 living beings handed each of the 7 angels a gold bowl filled with the wrath of God. And it says, who lives forever and ever. The temple was filled with smoke from God's glory and power, kind of Shekinah glory action, this glory. Again, Book of Numbers kind of stuff. No one could enter the temple until the 7 angels had completed pouring out the 7 plagues. Woo, so here it is. It's going to end, the wrath of God. Cleansing, fire, procuring freedom of the earth. Man, I'm going to have to get in there and I'm going to have to rip it from the enemy, because us and the human beings have their grips and everything, and the false system and the false Christ, the false prophet, right? The statue, the image bearing of the beast. All this stuff is wrecking havoc. And so God is on a mission. He's coming to the planet. So for those atheists out there like I was, you want God, you want to see God one day? Woo! Well, you know what? You just might get that opportunity. But like C.S. Lewis declares, right? When the composer comes out, when the author of the play comes out, after the theater production, after it's all over and everybody's clapping and standing up, and the author comes on the stage, the composer comes on the stage, right? It's done, right? It is over. There is no more of the play. When when God makes his entrance into this world, on this planet, he is procuring this earth's freedom. And the play that we are in will be over. It will be done. Wow. Man, God's got a purpose and a plan, and it is one of making things whole, because he is holy. Be holy as I am holy. Have you ever read that before? God's doing it. Okay. There's more to, obviously, I could say about this, but I'll leave it there for today. It's very cool to think of God's purpose and plan and his holiness, and that he's procured my freedom through Jesus. And he's snatched me out of the enemy's hands, and he's brought me into his marvelous light. And that Jesus, his wrath is not on me. It's against the enemies. I have passed from judgment to life through Jesus. And that he is making me holy as he is holy. Wow. Very cool. I'm going to think of that today. You guys have a good weekend. Always enjoy ya. Okay? Bye-bye.